tonight we are going to make something I've been anticipating for quite some time. And I wanted to figure out how was I going to do something different with this. Well, the other day, a friend over on another channel, it's called Not Another Cooking Show. And Steve over there the other day, he made a video with making bolognese sauce. And so what I'm going to make tonight, I'm going to kind of play around with some things here. And what I'm going to make is American goulash, but I'm going to make a kind of a bastardized version of bolognese sauce. And let's see how this turns out. So come on over here and see where we're going. Okay, so the first thing I need approximately equal amounts of carrot, celery, and onion. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with my carrots here. I'm going to chop off my ends. And what we're going to do, we want a very fine dice on these things. I could use my food processor as Steve did in his. However, I'm not going to. I'm going to just kind of make some slivers like so. Then we're going to come back and make really fine. Okay, so we're basically going to do the same thing with our celery here. I'm going to cut these little wings off here, arms, whatever you want to call them. And I'll just I'd actually call that about even, but all I've got left is this, and I'm going to go ahead and use it up. Alright, so I got my pan heating here. I'm going to put a couple little glugs of olive oil in here. We're going to put all these vegetables right into this pan. We want to let them sweat down. Yeah, and while that's sweating down, I'm going to take about 5 or 6 good cloves of garlic here. We're going to take this and put it into our pan. Alright, we're getting a little browning going on with our vegetables now. I got a 12-inch 12 ounce can of tomato paste here, and I want about half of this. And what's left over, I'll just put it into a Ziploc baggie and I'll freeze it for the next one. For the next whatever I want it for. Could be chili, could be anything. I have to put just a little more oil on the bottom. I'll begin mixing that tomatoes in with my vegetables, and you can see, I think down here at the bottom, you can see where we're getting onto the bottom of the skillet there. I mean, kind of getting a little kind of a flan kind of a thing going on, and we are going to kind of deglaze that here. And what I've got here is 1 cup of no sugar added cranberry juice. I told you I was going to play with this. If it was Italians, it would be either red or white wine. The reason why I use cranberry juice is because I'm not a wine drinker, I'm a beer drinker. I have found that cranberry juice actually makes a pretty good replacement for my wine. And I'll drink it. Now I'm going to turn my heat down a little bit. We want to reduce that down. I'm going to put it down onto pretty much low. Now what I've got here is 1 pound of ground chuck, that's 80/20, and a ½ pound of Italian sausage here. And then, since I don't have any prosciutto or anything like that, one of those other fine Italian smoked and cured and smoked meats, I have my own, and this is my buckboard bacon that I made. And if you want to see how that's done, check up in the top right hand corner. You'll see how I went about that. I'm going to dice this stuff up, and I'm guessing I got about a ½ pound of this. We're going to do a fine dice. Meat like this will dice much easier the colder you can get it. If you want to put it in the freezer for a few minutes before you do it, that would be all the better. This came straight out of the refrigerator. Okay, so we have really reduced this down real nice, and so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my meat in here, and we want to brown it. I should say, I don't mean brown as in searing it. So we got our hamburger, our sausage, and now we have our bacon, and we're just going to begin breaking this up. We're going to turn our heat up a little bit too, probably to medium here. Okay, so we've got our meat chopped up very finely, and it looks like we've pretty well got it, all the pink out of it. Just as I said, I had it all chopped up very finely. I found a little spot there where it wasn't. But at any rate, so now we want to incorporate all of our vegetables into the meat. I'm going to turn my heat back down now because we're no longer trying to brown that meat. We want to continue reducing down our vegetables and things. And what I got here is a 28 ounce can of San Marzano tomatoes. These are peeled tomatoes, and we're going to open these up, dump them up into our bowl here, juice and all. Then we're going to kind of go through and look for any things like that don't look like tomatoes. Italian cooks will tell you that you need to have San Marzano tomatoes for Italian dishes. And while I'm making an American dish, I am making bolognese, and I said, what the heck, why not? Even though they are a little more expensive. As you go through this, you want to look for any kind of impurities or whatever like that. Those kind of look like tomato seed or tomato plant leaves. And I'm just mashing these tomatoes up by hand here. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Let's get it over here. We're going to put these right into our pot as soon as I wash my hands off real quick. Alright, so right directly in here, I've actually got the burner turned as low as it'll go. We've got all these tomatoes in here now. Wipe with the spatula. We want to incorporate that into our mixture here. Now at the moment we got plenty of juice in here. If I was making what they call a classic bolognese, as far as the ingredients are concerned, this would pretty much be it. Surprisingly, they don't use a lot of spices other than garlic. I take that back. Bay leaves is a big one. And we're getting ready to remedy that. Yes, we are. We're getting ready to remedy that in just a moment. Alright, so in goes some basil. I'll say that right there is about a teaspoon of oregano, half teaspoon of thyme, 2. That one's kind of small. I'm going to go for one more piece here. Another small one. 3. You always want to crack your bay leaves. You want to keep an eye on this. As I said, I got my burner down about as low as it'll go right now without going out. And if we need to, we can always add half a cup of water at a time. But we want to keep this going for quite some time. We're talking 3 to 4 hours now. Okay, we are going to continue on now with the bastardization of this bell pepper. I actually went ahead and I cored and seeded it here. And now I'm going to make a medium dice on this. And I've got some of my favorite mushrooms here, baby bellas. And I'm not using pre-sliced, but I'm going to go over here, so I'm going to take them over here and wash them real quick. Now, I don't expect to use all these. Mushrooms can be kind of difficult to slice sometimes. One thing, they're kind of hard to hold on to get a proper slicing grip with your fingers turned back in and under your fingertips, so you don't slice your fingertips into the food. Okay, I think that's going to be enough. I'll save those for something else. It's time to take these over here and put them into the pan, pot, whatever we got going on over here. Into the pot with our bell pepper and our mushrooms. Our pot is getting very full too. Now, and the bell pepper and the mushroom is going to release a lot of liquid into our sauce as well. If it wasn't for them, we'll have to be adding water into the sauce. Now we are going to let this continue simmering. We will be checking back on it occasionally to ensure that it is not running dry on liquid, and to give it a stir. Alright, so it's been about an hour and 20 minutes. I'm going to put a half a cup of water in here. Also, I'm going to add a little bit, maybe a quarter teaspoon of some ground cayenne pepper, because anything that has tomatoes in it, I like crushed red pepper, which unfortunately and criminally I'm out of right now. And by the way, you'll want to taste it for salt. I have tasted it, and I think it's nearly perfect right where it's at as far as salt. Some people might want to taste it and they might want to add a little sugar. However, with the addition of the cranberry juice and the carrots, I think it's fine right where it's at. One last thing. I haven't put any black pepper in here. Very good. So, that's a good crack. We're looking real good. Okay folks, so I just, it's been another hour, and I just added a cup of water, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of red wine vinegar. Gave it a stir up. I think we're nearing perfection here. Now, and the last thing I'm going to add to my bolognese here is a little bit of half and half. If you don't have half and half, you can use cream. You can use milk. Whole milk would be better. We're going to add just that little bit, maybe just a touch more, like that. Mix that in. Great. Okay, over here we got some, almost say about 3.5 quarts of water getting ready to come to a boil. And we want to salt this water really well. Alright, our water has come up to a boil now. I'm going to put about 3 cups of macaroni noodles in here. We want to cook this like super al dente. I'm talking about maybe 3 minutes or 7 minutes. So we're going to bring that to a boil, and also I have started my oven to 350 degrees. Okay, so I'm about 6 minutes into this boil on this pasta, and I'm going to call it right now. And it's time to get this drained. Okay, so we've got our noodles here, and we've got our Bolognese sauce. I'm going to put 1, 2. We're going to stir that up, see what we think. We'll put another one in. Now the Italians would tell you that we Americans like our pasta too saucy, and I'm guilty. Maybe just a little more even. A bay leaf in there, no need to have. Alright, I think that's got it. Now then, I've got a 7.5 or 7 by 11 casserole dish here. And we're going to move all this, well, provided it'll all fit. Alright, we got a little extra. It won't go to waste. I'll figure something to do with it. Now, here, I've got about 1/2 cup of sharp cheddar cheese. And 1/2 cup of shredded pepper jack cheese. We're going to move it into the oven for about 30 minutes, and we'll take a look at it and see how we think we're doing. Alright folks, so our timer has come and gone. Ooh-wee! Look at that! How good does that look? Folks, I need to let that sit for 10 minutes or so to rest. Folks, I hope this looks as good to you as it does to me. Now, the rest of the sauce I have put it into a Pyrex bowl for freezing. Look at that. Can you see that? The excess goulash I made, I put into a Pyrex bowl that can be baked on its own for about one serving. There we go. Now, how about a little garlic bread for garnish? What do you think? Hope that looks good. Folks, it's that time. Let's get turned around. Now folks, around here where I come from, we bake our goulash. I have not seen any videos on YouTube. I can't say that I've seen every video on goulash, but I did not see any. That first of all, used a Bolognese sauce, which is actually a meat sauce, and I did see that, but not one that was made in the style basically of a Bolognese sauce. However, I did make a few additions, like the juice, the green pepper, and mushrooms. That may not be exactly the style, and maybe some of the spices, I don't know, but at any rate, this is my version of Bolognese sauce, and also my version of goulash, American goulash. This is excellent. There's no other word for it. Got a little hint from that Italian sausage just there. Nice, just a touch of a tartness. Remember I put the vinegar in there, but also some sweetness to it. I am totally satisfied, folks. I think if you try this, you'd be satisfied too. Even if you didn't make the long version like I did. Folks, if you like what you're seeing down here in the bottom right hand corner, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe. And hit that little dingy bell down there for some updates when something new comes out. Folks, thank you for watching and stay tuned. There's always more to come.